When it comes to 10mm handguns, they are extremely popular right now. I always kind of scratched my head and wondered why the 10mm is so popular and the 40 isn't necessarily as popular, but you know, that's a different debate. But the 10mm is wildly popular, and I'm sure people are choosing it because it's a darn effective round. If you have a 10mm handgun, there's not a lot in North America you couldn't take down if you were hunting or defending yourself against, whether it be four-legged predators or two-legged predators. It's a fantastic round. But there's not really a lot of options, and I find that very surprising because I would argue that the 10mm is probably more popular than the 45 ACP right now. You know, if you took 1911s out of the equation, it would for sure be more popular than the 45 ACP. And really only, you know, below something like a 9mm, 380, and 38 special, and then you got 10mm. Very popular caliber, but your options have really been surprisingly limited. Really, you got like 1911s in 10mm, and then Glock's made a series of 10mm handguns, and Sig Sauer's jumping on it, but they're all kind of very similar. It's either a 1911 or something like a Glock, which I would argue the Sig P320 is much like a Glock in many ways, shapes, or forms. But now there's something that I believe could quite possibly be one of the most ideal 10mm handguns out there. Now, before I get into it, I do want to take a moment and thank our sponsor, ES Power Drink, for not just supporting our channel, but for making this incredible drink that has Trinidad scorpion peppers in it. And I'm reaping the health benefits of that by losing weight. I sleep better. I have a better outlook on life. I have better focus. I have more energy. The benefits are tremendous, and I couldn't eat a Trinidad scorpion pepper, so thank goodness for this drink. That link is below. All right, now, before I get into the gun, I kind of want to talk about what your limitations are, because, you know, 1911 is a 1911. Fantastic handgun. If I was going to hunt with a 10mm, I would get a 1911 version. It's going to be your most accurate to some degree. But if you're not a 1911 carrier, and a lot of people are not, you know, and the variable is they're staring at that hammer cocked and locked, and they struggle with it, even though you got the grip safety, even though you got your manual safety. And then Glock and P320, very similar. You're carrying, you know, essentially a striker-fired pistol with the pin in the ready position, and there's no manual safety. You know, they got the trigger safety, but that people struggle with that. A lot of people have returned Glocks over the last few years as new gun owners because they didn't realize that. But now what you have is you have the Springfield XD series bringing out a 10mm, and have for a few years. This isn't a new thing necessarily. I just think it might be kind of the ideal perfect situation. Because the problem with the 1911, in my humble opinion, is capacity. You know, I haven't seen a lot of double stack 10mm 1911s out there. They probably are, I just haven't seen a lot of them. And if you don't like Glock and you don't want to carry a P320, there's not a lot of options. And the great thing about the Springfield is it's got the grip safety. So if those are the things that you're in the market for, it's kind of ideal. So really when I say ideal, it kind of depends on who you are, because for you, Glock may be ideal, or it may, 1911 may be ideal. I don't know. But what I'm saying is people that aren't used to carrying Glocks or 1911s, I think this is going to be their best bet. I really do. It's a double stack. It's, you know, my experience with the XD series, even in 9mm, these are some of the most accurate handguns, especially polymer handguns, I've ever fired. They're extremely accurate. They're very well made. I've never had an XD fail in any way, shape, or form, or even heard of somebody having a malfunction with an XD. I'm sure it happens. I just haven't heard of it. But ultimately what you have now is you have a series of 10mm in XD, and I think it's great that they're doing this. If you were a new gun owner or a new concealed carrier and you were in the market for a 10mm, this is what I would recommend. I wouldn't feel comfortable recommending a Glock. I definitely wouldn't feel comfortable recommending a P320. And honestly, I wouldn't really feel comfortable recommending a 1911 for different reasons, but I think all those guns require some experience. And that's really why I think this XDM is kind of the ideal 10 millimeters. If you don't have the experience with the 1911s or the Glocks, this is ideal. Now, what is my experience shooting it? Loved shooting this thing. I always find it surprising how smooth full-size 10 millimeters are. But I always love shooting the Springfield XD series from Croatia, regardless of whether it's a 9 millimeter or a 10 millimeter. Been wanting to get a hold of these. I kind of always saw them as really the perfect price range as well, but honestly, Glock's about the same price, so I don't think it's necessarily a special price by any means, but it's reasonably priced. So again, if you're in the market for a 10 millimeter and you don't feel comfortable carrying 1911s and you don't feel comfortable carrying Glocks or P320s, I believe the Springfield XDM and 10 millimeter is going to be your best bet by far. And especially if you're living in somewhere in the Rocky Mountains or in Alaska, you spend time in the wilderness, I think it's a great option. 10 millimeter is really one of your best options, to be quite honest, but it's a great one. It's really a great one. So there you go. Is the Springfield XDM and 10 millimeter kind of the ideal 10 millimeter? I guess it depends on who you are. And I'm going to say yes, if you're not experienced with the 1911 or the Glocks. Then of course it is. It's definitely going to be your best bet. So there you go. Springfield XDM and 10 millimeter, going to recommend it, especially if you're a new gun carrier and you want the 10 millimeter. It's a great option. Any thoughts or insight on any of that, definitely put it below, especially any insights you might have, or some better options for 10 millimeter for kind of the new gun carrier, somebody that's not used to 1911s or Glocks or SIG P320s. What else is there, that would be better than the Springfield XDM if you're not experienced with those firearms? But other than that, again, put it in the comments below. Again, don't forget to check out that EOS Power Drink. That link is also below. But by far, the most important part of this channel is we take prayer requests. So please don't ever hesitate to send that in. Thank you for watching this episode of God, Family, and Guns. And as always, love God, love your family, and love guns.